Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 251, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fibernymph on Ravelry. And I have a Fibernymph account on Instagram, which is my personal account, as well as a Fibernymph Dyeworks account on Instagram, which is more for the yarn business. You're welcome to follow me at either of those places. There's also a Fibernymph Dyeworks page on Facebook, and there is a 90% knitting group and a Fibernymph Dyeworks group on Ravelry. So those are all places that you can check out. The two Ravelry groups, there's knit-alongs going on in each of those right now, so that's a good place to look and see what's going on. So let's get started here. First, welcome. If this is your first time here, glad you're here. If you've been coming back week after week, then thank you. I'm glad we get to spend some time together. I've got a lot of things to show you this week, so we're going to get started. I've got a big FO this week, and you probably know what it is if you've been watching, and I'm so excited this is done. It is my garter bias wrap. It is complete, finished. Matter of fact, I finished it the morning after I recorded last time. I think I may have finished the knitting that same day, and then I filled in all of the fringe. Whoops! Oh no! An important paper just went over there on the floor. I'll have to get it later. Anyway, I filled in the fringe because remember the fringe was kind of sparse, but look how nice it is now. Oh my goodness. So this was just a combination of 8 different skeins of yarn. Do you see how long this is? 65 inches. This was 8 different yarns that I basically, now I have yarn in my mouth, I basically used the same pattern or the same repeat sequence throughout. I did 2 garter ridges of each one, and then I'd switch, leaving the fringe to dangle because I knew I was going to tie it off and use it as fringe. There were a couple places that I goofed up and I forgot, and I only did 1 garter ridge, so it's a little different there. And there's a couple places, probably more than I realized, that I got the yarns goofed up and they're not in the right order, but it doesn't matter because I love how it looks. When you look at the picture, the one picture on Instagram where I have it laid out across these tables up at the mountain house, you can really see the striping sequence very clearly if you look on my project page. And it's in that picture that you can really see where I goofed up the striping sequence because it's not consistent. Again, I don't care. I love how this turned out. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to put this on such as it is. Again, it's 65 inches long. I think it was 21 or 22 inches deep. And I'm really not entirely sure how I'm going to wear this other than, I can't even get it all in the screen. Here, I'll back up. But look how cozy. It's phenomenally cozy. I don't really know if I could wear it sort of like that. I don't know. Let me come back to you now. This seems a little odd. It feels a little weird. And honestly, I'm not sure if I would wear this out anywhere anyway, even though it's very warm and cozy and it would make a nice wrap, like for a fall day or something, but it's just big. I feel like I sort of have an Afghan wrapped around me. So in that way, I don't know that I would wear it out, but it will definitely be a cozy thing to wrap up in, like in the mornings when I'm knitting or in the evenings when I'm knitting. I don't know. Up at the mountain house. The warmth and coziness factor of this will be fabulous. In the end, all told, including all of the fringe, I have to take this off now though. I'm sorry. It's way too hot in here. I used 1,130 yards, which is significantly more than I was anticipating. And I did actually weigh each individual ball that I had used and figured out how much I used based on what was left. So I'm sure it's not completely accurate because a lot of times they're over or under by a little bit, but I'm pretty darn close. Yeah, so I was only thinking I was going to use 600 and some yards. So the fact that I was over 1,000 was a wonderful revelation. So that came to 1,033 meters. So I was doing a happy dance right there, being able to add that to my stash dash total. So yay. You know what? I'm going to grab this piece of paper now because it's going to bother me. I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. It's all our prize winners that I'm going to announce later. Okay, so as far as other finished objects, I don't have any other full finished objects, but I do have 2 hose to show you. So I need to find the correct bags. Okay, here's the first one. This was one that was almost finished last week, I believe, and now it is completely done. This is my Margarita Swirl Sock. So I just did, you know, the sock, and then I did the Afterthought heel, and I used Toxic Green for the heel. Sorry, I did not bring over a sock blocker this week. I either have a bunch of them or I don't have any with me. But I really like how it turned out. And I love how it lined up because I knit the cuff down so that I knew that this is where I would start my heel. I would put my heel in there to match that stripe, and that worked perfectly. And then look, it ended on the green too. So I'm really hopeful that when I do the second sock, which I'm not going to do right now, I'm hoping I'll be able to get it to match up. I did not start this though in a very good spot to do that. I just kind of cast on at the very beginning of the skein. Had I been thinking, I would have cast on at the beginning of that strawberry stripe, but I didn't. So I'm going to have to, it'll probably take a couple of tries to get it at as close as possible to that same spot, but we'll see. I may have to fudge things a little bit. But anyway, this one's done and I'm really happy with it. It used 148 yards, which is 136 meters. So I'm still on my trend of I'm going to finish up sock whips. Like I have a lot of first sock whips. So this is, I believe, my 3rd one that I'm going to do and just leave as a hoe for now until Stash Dash is over. Then I will go back because I'm trying to take advantage of knitting that's already done as far as what I'm working on. Okay, so that is one. So then after I finished that one, I went in my Stash Dash bin here that's sitting next to me to see what other socks I had on the needles and which one was furthest along that I could capitalize on. And I pulled out my hoodwinked sock, which I could have sworn this hoodwinked sock was only about right here in the cuff. No, it was here. Like I was through the heel completely and down the foot to the point where I was about an inch, maybe a little more than an inch from doing the toe decreases. Why I let this sit and languish and hadn't worked on this prior to now, I have no idea. That was really bizarre. But like I whipped this sucker out, I think like in an evening or a morning. I don't remember. It was like really fast. So another hoe. It's very exciting. And this I just did in my staggered rib that I've done on a couple of pairs of socks. This pair is going to be for me because both of the other pairs of socks that I did this staggered rib on, I gave away. One to my mom, one to my husband. So this one's for me. You really can't see it super well in this really highly variegated yarn, but I love how it looks on the inside. That texture. Can you see that? Here, let me turn it completely inside out, then you'll be able to see it better. And when I realized that, because it was inside out when I was weaving in my ends, obviously, and when I'm looking at that texture, I thought, ooh, that's really, really cool. I might have to do a pair of socks where this is the right side. I'm not usually into overly textured socks because they tend to feel funny, like in your foot. But this is textured, it's just textured on the inside, so it probably won't matter much. But anyway, I really liked how that looked. So, I don't know. We'll see. I may write it up as a pattern someday. I know, ha ha ha, let's laugh when Lisa says she's going to write up a pattern. I may write it up as a pattern someday and write it both directions, like doing the rib, the flatter rib on the outside as one, and doing the more textured rib on the outside as one version. We'll have to see. Anyway, so this is another hoe, and this one used 152 yards and 139 meters. So that's just a tiny little bit more. I don't know why I was saying that like that was a big difference. It was like a 4-yard difference and a 3-meter difference than the other sock. But anyway, both of these socks are on my US 1 needles. The other one was just a plain vanilla sock. But anyway, so that's another hoe. That's so exciting. So that added to my stash deck total. But there's more. I finally got to ply the 3 bobbins of the blue BFL that have been waiting for me to ply them. And oh my goodness, look at the skein. I should have brought the other 2 over to show you that I've already done, but this is a mammoth skein compared to the first 2 that I did. And when I got done plying, like the first bobbin ran out, there were only maybe like 5 yards, if even that, left on both of the other bobbins. That's the closest I've come in this project. This skein is 383 yards. I mean, that's plied, a 3-ply. Okay, I get to count the singles length for Stash Dash. So 383 yards is 350 meters. You convert that to singles, that's 1,050 more meters that I get to count for Stash Dash. This was such a good Stash Dash week. I am just so excited. And this yarn is just making me so happy. It's fairly balanced. I mean, there's a little bit more of an extra twist to it, but not very much. And I'll tell you what, I was plying this like crazy. I sat one night. It took me over 3 episodes of Gilmore Girls on DVD to ply this. Yeah, but it's done. What I need to do is do more of this and get another skein of this plied, because that would be awesome. And I think that would like definitely clinch my 10K if I could do that. The problem is my Traveler and this fiber is up at the mountain house and I'm here right now. So, but I'll have time. I will have time. I don't know if I'll have enough time. We'll see. The fact that I'm going to be away for 10 days in August, I just realized this, because I'm going to be away over the last part of Stash Dash. We're leaving on the 19th and we're not getting back, I think, till the 27th. And I'm pretty sure Stash Dash ends on the 25th. So any of my final hurrahs are going to have to happen while I'm away. And I'm going to be canoeing part of that time. So there's not going to be a lot of knitting done. So I really have to push these last 2 weeks before we go away on vacation and get as much done as I possibly can. Boy, I hadn't thought about that till just now. That's a bummer. Yikes. Okay. Anyway, so with my garter bias wrap, the 2 hose, and this plied fiber, that brings my Stash Dash total up to 8,489 meters. I mean, I'm only like 1,500 meters, a little bit over that. Just, that's it. That's all I need. And I'm like there's no easy way for me to accumulate that meterage right now. Spinning. I mean, if I continue that, and that total includes like my partial spinning, like my spinning that I did of that rainbow targhee that I've done during Stash Dash. So that includes that. And some other things that I have not yet posted. Like not all of this meterage is posted to the Stash Dash thread yet. It will be, but it's not there yet. But that is my official total on my accounting spreadsheet. Now, the funny thing, okay, I had this realization this past week too. Remember, I said I chose to do the 10K this year because I had successfully completed the 7K last year. Well, guess what? No, I did not. I successfully completed Stash Dash last year, but I only did the 5K because I went back in the old threads from last year's Stash Dash. I forget why. I was looking for something, and like I couldn't find myself in the 7,000, so I went to the 5,000. I'm like, I only did 5K last year. By that, I should have only tried doing 7K. If I was just bumping myself up a little bit, I could have done 7K, I'd be done by now. So I like basically doubled my goal from last time for this year, which is crazy cakes. I mean, this was crazy anyway. But the fact that it's actually double, that definitely makes me not feel bad if I don't achieve it. Like, I feel like I have achieved what I should have originally achieved by surpassing 7,000 this year. And this is so silly. Every time I start talking about this with my husband, he's like, this is all so arbitrary. Like, I know. He doesn't get this at all. Like, this would not be a motivating thing for him whatsoever. but I'm like all into it, and, you know, and he thinks I'm crazy. But anyway, he puts up with it. So yeah, but on the other hand, the fact that I did make the mistake and bump myself up to 10K this year makes me want to get that goal even more, just to prove to myself I can. But then that would be crazy, because then next year I'd have to do like the 15K, and there's no way. No, it will not be happening next year for that. I'll still keep it at 10K, I think. Let's get through this year first, okay? So anyway, in addition to those things that I finished, I did work on a couple of other things. Let's see, I need to find the correct bags here. The next sock, so I finished another sock, came back into my bin here, and I pulled this one out. So this is my Bold Berries Swirl colorway this was originally the Bold Berries Splash Pad Parfait Swirl colorway for the Splash Pad party in the Downseller Studio podcast. This was the exclusive colorway I had done up for that. So I was partway through the heel flap whenever I stopped working on this. So I finished the heel flap, and then last night after dinner I was sitting at the table talking to my hubby, and I did the heel turn, and I got done and realized that I was done on one side but had like 3 stitches left on the other side. So I realized I put my heel turn in like cockeyed, like my heel would have to be deformed to fit in there, so I ripped it back out, and I just haven't done any more yet, but it's coming along. So this one, I'm very confident that I'll be able to finish that sock, because once you get past the heel turn and you get that gusset going, I feel like it flies. I know some people think that it takes forever to get through the gusset decreases. I like doing those though. I really do. I feel like that's motivating to me. Like as I count down those decreases and get to, you know, the next place, I like doing that. The other thing I worked on, I did work on my Granny Stripes blanket a little bit more, crocheting on that. Not showing it to you because there's not a whole lot different from the last time you saw it. But the other thing that I'm doing, and this is in my Bling Your String bag by Erin, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later on. I decided, I've told myself I was not casting anything new on through the duration of Stash Dash at this point. And technically this isn't a new cast on, because this is from the sample of Mountain House Summer that I knit up last week in order to put it in the shop and have the sample to show the variegated stripes. I'd actually had 2 little balls. A lot of times when I know that I'm going to have to do a sample of something, I just dye up a little tiny extra mini skein for myself to be able to do that, rather than having to cannibalize part of a full skein for the shop. So that's what I did. So I had like 2 repeats worth of this colorway for the sample. Well, I ripped it back out to partway through the light green and cut it. And then I'm using bright green, just a bright green semi-solid on Bedazzled, which is not the same as this darker green here, but it's close enough. So I decided to do that. And this is what I did this morning during my knitting time this morning. I watched Mina Phillips' German short row heel video on like I had to think about each of those words. Her video on YouTube that came with the pattern for her her sock pattern that I was gifted by a lovely viewer. Thank you again. So I watched that, and I did another German short row heel. Now, if you remember, I tried one last week and it turned out horrible, and it was very, very short. This one is still quite shallow. Now, I know Mina has like that little heel flap adjustment that you can do, but the video did not show how to do that. And I was only going by the video. I did not have the printed out directions in front of me. So this is obviously just going to be a shorty sock. I'm going to just leave this as it is, because actually the heel turned out quite lovely, and I love how the decreases, look, those German short row decreases, really pretty. They're very nice, and so it worked out well. It's a little under 2 inches. It's like 1 7/8 inches deep at this point. If I had it up to like 2.5, I could probably be happy. But that's where that heel flap will come in, that little mini heel flap adjustment. But for this pair, I'm just going to go ahead and do this because I don't want to rip this heel out. I did it. It's done. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to leave it as is. It was fun learning it, and I think I may have to watch the video again, or at least follow the written directions. I did, however, realize what I goofed up the first time I was trying to do the German short row. So at least I know where my error was. Okay, so that is everything that I knit on this week. I don't have anywhere to sit anything. Sorry. That's everything I worked on. I feel like it was a very productive week, especially considering how busy I was with other things. I do have good news to tell you. My Outdoorsy pattern, the Outdoorsy headband and neck warmer, it is now published. Yes, finally after all these weeks, it's published. I hit publish on it this morning, finally got all the pictures into it. I should have printed off the first page to show you, but of course I didn't. So if you are following the Fiber Nymph Dye Works account on Instagram or the Fiber Nymph Dye Works page on Facebook, you may have already seen it. I did post about the pattern being published on both of those locations this morning. I will add it to Ravelry. I mean, I'll add, obviously the pattern's already on Ravelry. I'll add a note about that in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Ravelry later today. But yeah, it's up, and it's going to be a $4 pattern usually, but for this first month, for the month of August, I am making it half price, so it's only $2 right now. So if you'd like it, now's a good time to grab it. I will be putting kits for it up in the shop next week. They will not be in this week's shop update, but there will be some next week. So if you buy one of the kits, you'll actually get the pattern for free with the purchase of the kit. But if you want it beforehand and you want to make it out of your own scraps or whatever yarn you have on hand, then go ahead, grab the pattern. I hope you enjoy it. My test knitters all seem to enjoy it. Hopefully they'll be linking their projects to the pattern page now, so you'll get to see more samples of it. But yeah, so it's done. Now I can maybe try to get another pattern published. Oh my gosh. I realized, thanks to my Time Hop app, that my last pattern that I published was actually right at the end of July last year. And that was my Rambler pattern, I believe. I think that was the end of summer last year. Anyway, yeah, it's been like a year. I average like one pattern a year, apparently. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, no, it wasn't Rambler. It was Miscellany. That Miscellany hat pattern, that was last summer. The year before was Rambler. So, okay. I have a new thing. I have a couple new things to show you this week, actually. There's a yarn crawl going on right now in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh shops, the Steel Valley Yarn Crawl. I'm not taking part in the yarn crawl. I would like to, but I just don't have the time to go to all those shops. However, I do have a bunch of yarn up at Knitsburg. So if you are in the Pittsburgh area and you're yarn crawling, or even if you're not yarn crawling and you just want to check out a lovely little shop in Pittsburgh, it's up in Blawnox. It's called Knitsburg. And while I was up there, I was delivering yarn up there for the crawl. Yvonne, who is the owner, was showing new bags that they got in from Bird Leg Bags. She stocks those. And one of them was this one. Look at this fabric. Oh my goodness. As soon as she showed that, like she was doing a live video on Facebook with her unboxing of all these bags. And I'm like, I wanted to squee really loud because it was like, I need to have that. So when she was done recording, I'm like, hey, that bag with the jellyfish, like, are you selling that now? And she's like, sure. So I came home with it, and it's a nice big bag. It's like a sweater size bag, and I love that. Bird Leg Bags is Vicky. She is local. She's from Greensburg, and she does lovely bags. I've got some of her other bags too. But that's the inside. All the jellyfish, the blue and the purple. I just love it. So anyway, new bag. That was an unplanned purchase, but you know, sometimes that happens. You gotta strike while you can. Some other new things though. The first one, I have no idea why I signed up for this or why I bought it. Maybe it was discounted or something. I don't know. But it's a mystery knit along, and I hardly ever, like never do mystery knit alongs. But this one, I think it was the name of it that caught my attention because it's called Everyone Knows Pi R Round, because the formula for pi is pi equals r squared. Or pi r squared is the formula. Sorry, I'm not going to think on math. I can't do on the fly. But anyway, pi r squared. But pi r squared, the pi r round. So this is a mystery knit along called Everyone Knows Pi R Round. It's for a shawl. You can purchase the pattern. The first clue is now out. It started August 1st. So I have all the introduction stuff about, you know, the yarn. I'm not going to show you any of this. There's no pictures to really see. But I have that, and I have the first clue. I have no idea when I would actually do this. I'd kind of like to because it sounds interesting, but I don't know. But I have the pattern, so eventually maybe I'll knit it. I don't know why I'm telling you about it, because I'm sitting here saying I'm probably not going to knit this. But no, I probably am, just not right now. I can't start anything new right now. Not until Stash Dash is over. And if I was going to start something new, it would probably be this pattern, which is by Sarah Jordan. It's called Win, and she's just recently published this. I'm trying to get it. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? It's a 2-color shawl, and it's a crescent, top-down crescent shawl, garter stitch. Lovely. It reminds me of water, the way it flows. That's what actually that's what she said. It reminds her a bit of waves. So Sarah gifted this to me, and I was very thankful for that. And I am definitely going to be knitting this up soon after Stash Dash. I'm going to start it. So I have that pattern, and then a lovely viewer, Lena. Yes, Lena Stanberg. Sorry, I had to look up the name. She offered me one of her sock patterns. She's got several sock designs out. That's a blank page. And she said that she would love to gift me one. And so I chose her Hoppa socks. Lena is not from the US. Lena is from Sweden. And one of you winners will get to choose one of her patterns if that's the pattern prize that you choose. Sarah has also offered a giveaway of her Win pattern. That's another one of the pattern prizes for the giveaway, or for the knit along for July. We had, oh my gosh, am I ready to talk about that yet? Yes, I am. I'm through new things. Let's start talking about a year in the life of a knitter knit along. Okay, well, first of all, we're in August, so we're in the second part of the summer quarter, second month. Themes are still fun, travel, and relaxation. The August focus is garter stitch. So if you're knitting garter stitch, you're focusing on garter stitch this month with us. That's awesome. Not necessary, but awesome. Please continue to chatter in the chatter thread, because you guys really like to chatter this past month. Wow. The August challenge is almost anything goes. Almost is in parentheses. I decided I wanted to definitely do something that would encompass any of the crafts that are involved in a year in the life of a knitter knit along. So almost anything goes. You can knit any project that you want to. There's only 2 stipulations. One, the project has to be started and finished within the month of August. That's for all of the challenges, has to be within that month. And the other one is just a yardage requirement. If you're doing something with yarn, it has to use 100 yards minimum of yarn. If you're knitting, crocheting, weaving. If you're spinning, you have to create 100 yards of yarn in its final form. So if you're spinning yarn that's meant to be singles, it has to be at least 100 yards of singles. If you're planning for the finished yarn to be plied, it has to be 100 yards of plied yarn. And if you're sewing, you have to use a minimum of a ½ yard of fabric in your project. So that is the August challenge. I'm saying July because I forgot to change the month on my notes. I'll do that right now. That's the August challenge. Almost anything goes. So have fun with that. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Now for the prizes. We hit a record. Like I told you last week that we had hit a record in the chatter thread for the participation, and it went even further. We had enough to have 9 prizes. There were 492 posts in the month of July. If I subtracted the 42 that were mine, that left us with 450 posts. I offer 1 prize for every 50 posts, so that is 9 prizes. 9, guys. Oh my gosh. And I'll tell you what, I did the drawings ahead of time, using random number generator, because good grief, if I would have done this online, it would have or while I was recording, it would have taken forever, because I kept hitting on the same people over and over and over, including myself. And I only posted 42 times. There's other people who post a lot more than I do, and you can only win once per month. So I had to keep drawing. But I have them to announce. But first, I bet you would like to know what the prizes are, wouldn't you? Because I haven't shown them to you yet. Okay, so let me go through these prizes real quick. First, we have a Laura Nelkin necklace choker kit. It's called Cheerio. So you get the pattern, and you get the pattern includes links to video. Okay, I'm not sure how you get the pattern, but there is a way to get, this might be the code for the pattern, actually, sorry. Oh, it's inside. Never mind, the pattern's inside. I didn't realize it was folded in half. This was donated by our group member, Iona Paint, who is Christine. She has been participating in the Knit Along like crazy cakes. So thank you so much, Christine, for this. But you get everything you need. It's yarn and beads and the floss that you need in order to do the beading and the pattern. So everything is here for this. So that's 1 prize. Another prize is a project bag from Erin of Bling Your String. She sent me a lovely little bag along with the bag that I have. Her bags are so cute. This is one of her Biddy Buddy bags. It's like a 1 to 2 skein bag, so it's lined with this nice stripy fabric that coordinates with the outside fabric. And you can't, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but those little silver balls are actually like a silvery glittery kind of ball. They're really fun. And all of her bags, she includes stitch markers. So she's got this lovely little clip on here, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 stitch markers plus a 5th that is different. So that's like your beginning of round marker. Wonderful wrist strap, and she's got, it's a drawstring bag with this nice button that closes it up so stuff won't fall out. Anyway, this is one of the prizes. So that is from Erin, and thank you very much, Erin, for donating that. Next, I already told you the Win pattern, that crescent-shaped shawl from Sarah Jordan. Thank you, Sarah, for donating that. And then Lena's sock pattern of your choice. She has 3 out, so if you choose that as your prize, you get to pick which sock pattern you want from her 3, and Lena will gift that to you through Ravelry. Next, we've got our carryover prize from last month, which was the Douce et Soie baby mohair and silk skein in this pretty ice blue. So that's still up for grabs. Then we have fiber, which you need to be a spinner in order to grab this. It's my pink Cadillac colorway, and that is on Polworth silk. So it's an 85-15 blend of Polworth and silk, Tussa silk, 4 ounces. So that's a prize. Another one, this is a little odd, but as you know, I'm like getting ready to move everything studio-wise up to the mountain house. So I've been going through a lot of stuff, and I found these, and I totally forgot I even had them. And I've got several sets, so I thought I would put one up for grabs. They're bag handles, leather bag handles. These are so nice. Now I do not, oh, they're 20-inch. Okay, so there's 2 bag handles, and then they come with the buttons that you use to attach them. The holes are in the leather for you to, sew through. So everything's ready to go. So if you're someone who does like felted purses, or even if you sew and you want some nice sturdy bag handles, this is really cool. I bought a bunch of them at the yarn shop that I used to work at, and I've never used them, but they're really cool handles. So I want to pass this set on to somebody who will be able to use them. They're really nice. Let's see. Next, we have a skein of my Elegance, which is my lace weight in the Frosted Blossoms colorway. This is an 80-20 silk, superwash merino and silk yarn. So that's lace weight. Lots of yardage, 875 yards. And then we have a gradient in my bedazzled base, which is the Skittles colorway. Can you see there? You can see the silver sparkle in there. And lastly, there's another yarn out of my stash. This was originally a yarn that I bought with all those yarns that I used in the garter bias wrap, because I was originally going to make an afghan out of that. And then when I decided not to do the afghan and I just did the wrap, there were a few yarns that I had bought in that whole lot of yarn that I decided not to use in the wrap. So this is one of them. This is from Wool in the Woods, and I'm actually not even sure that Wool in the Woods is still dyeing. They may not be. Maybe they are. Don't take me. You might want to look that up on Ravelry. But this is their gold dust base, which is a 48% rayon, 44% cotton, 6% nylon, and 2% mylar. And the mylar is this gold sparkle in there. It's really neat. This is it's very soft. Like there's nothing scratchy about this yarn, but it is a cotton-based yarn. So it's doesn't have quite the stretch that you will have with a wool-based yarn. But it's super pretty. Like, this would be great to knit with something else. So anyway, that is the final prize. 10 prizes to choose from. There's 9 winners. So as always, since there's 10 prizes though, honestly, I would say when you send me your prize choices, send me your top 5. Don't send me a whole list of 10. If we get to a point where when you're sending me your list, they're taken, I will let you know. I will also update the show notes as time goes on to let you know which ones have already been claimed, so that you know what to pick from if you're not one of the first people to write to me. Anyway, if you are one of the prize winners that I'm going to now announce, please PM me with your top 5 choices from these prizes, which again, I will list in the show notes so that you have something to refer to. And let me know what your top 5 prizes are. And send me your mailing address if it's something that has to be mailed to you. Okay, so our 9 prize winners from the July chatter. The first one was post number 146, who is Miss Melody, and that's Joanne. Congratulations, Joanne. The second one is 206, who is Inagata Davida. No, that's the song. Inagata Donita. So that's Donita. Congratulations, Donita. The third winner is post number 177, and that is Deb Mom of 3. Deb, congratulations. Number 4 is post number 325, and that is Seductive Berry, who is Maria. Congratulations, Maria. Number 5 is post number 420, and that is Skyly Knits, who is Amanda. Congratulations, Amanda. Number 6 is post number 224, who is Frugal Knitter, Diana. Congratulations, Diana. Number 7, and yeah, it took all the way to number 7, is post number 107, PA Knitwit, Sarah. You have won again. I think Sarah has won every month. She's won something, but she participates a ton. It's funny. The 8th winner is post number 53. Congratulations, Sarah. I'm not diminishing your win. Congratulations. Post number 53 is our 8th winner, and that is K8R, who is Linda. Congratulations, Linda. And lastly, number 9 is post number 316, and that is WKH25. And I did not write your name down because I think I was like having to redraw so many times, so I'm pretty sure that's Wendy. So congratulations. Thank you all for participating. Like I said, I had to keep redrawing probably twice this many times, if not more, to get non-repeats. I do believe we have at least 1 or 2 new winners this month, but there's so many people who have been participating every single month in this knit along that it's not at all surprising to me that we have repeat winners from month to month to month, because there are so many people who are just participating on a regular basis, and that makes me so happy. This knit along has been so much more fun and has done so much more in participation than I ever could have imagined. So I got to thank you guys for doing this, because I love doing this. I really wasn't sure how a year-long knit-along was going to go, if people would just lose interest or not, but it seems to be the opposite. Like it's gaining momentum as the year goes on. So anyway, congratulations again to those winners. Please PM me with your top 5 choices, and I will get those mailed out to you or gifted to you as quickly as possible. All right, then we have our July challenge winner, and there were, I did not write down how many there were. I believe it was like 48 maybe. Let me look. July, 45. There were 45 posts. First one was mine. So the winner for that ended up being post number 11, who is Knickknacks. She does not have her first name written on there. So Knickknacks, congratulations. Her post was a pair of Mina Phillips Yorkville socks, which the challenge had to do with stockinette stitch. It had to be, I think, at least 50% stockinette. Maybe it was 75%. You know, you'd think I'd remember this, but quite honestly, with all of these winners, I've kind of lost sight of everything. 75% stockinette stitch. And Mina's socks patterns are really cool because she does a lot of patterning on the front, but the whole back and then, of course, the heel and toe and everything is stockinette. So Knickknacks was guessing that that was 75% stockinette, and I would agree. So congratulations, please PM me and I will get your prize to you, which is, hang on a minute. Where is it? Here it is. It is also a gradient. And this is a bulky weight gradient in my Awakening colorway. So this is your prize. If you PM me with your mailing address, Knickknacks, I will get that mailed out to you. Congratulations. We have one more winner, but that's not until the shop news segment because it's our July winner for that knit along. So I'm going to take a break from awarding prizes and move on to 10%. First of all, I alluded to the fact I've been staying here this week. That's multifold in reason. Number one, my son who lives here with me, or lives here at the house, is away. He's gone for a week. So somebody needed to be taking care of the pets. It's easy for me to take Muffin with me up to the mountain house and back. Not so easy with the cat because I don't know that she would do well going back and forth like that. Eventually she will have to move to the mountain house, but I think that's going to be a once and done deal. So I decided it would be easier for me to just be here and take care of her, because the other thing is she's an indoor and outdoor cat, but she does not have a cat door to come in and out on her own like the cats up at the mountain house do. And I was afraid that like there would be days that I'd go to leave and she'd be outside somewhere and I wouldn't be able to find her, and it just ended up being easier to take care of her while I'm here. So that was one of the reasons. But the other thing is the fact that since my son isn't here, and his bedroom, which is our 4th bedroom that we built in the basement years ago, is the only area of our basement that has not been redone yet. I thought this would be a really good week for me to move everything out of his room and start working in there. So that is going on as well. I'm trying to spend my evenings doing some of that. That has, like so many projects here, expanded in scope to the point that it's probably not going to be done by the time he gets home on Sunday, which is unfortunate, but it's just there's so much more to do. That room, it's had 2 teenage boys live in it over the years. Teenage boys can do a number on a room, let me tell you. So anyway, but we're working on that. And I've just had things I have to do that I don't get done when I'm here, because when I'm here, I'm working, then I have to turn around and go home to the mountain house. And with this studio move coming up this weekend, it's going to happen. Come, you know, I won't swear, but you know, God willing and the creek don't rise, I will be moving my studio this weekend. So I'm trying to get stuff ready for that, and it's just taking so long. You know, I know you can't see them all, but like I've got these bin units. Like this bin is all my business yarn. This is the Fiber Nymph Dye Works yarn, my inventory. But this 9 cube unit, if you remember, I don't know if I can show you on here. Let me see if I can. There. Okay, you can see part of it. There's 2 more 9 bin units here, and those house my personal stash, which is also going to be going up to the mountain house now because I want to empty this room out because I need to paint in here. I know we're going to miss the yellow walls, but you know what? I can't sell this house with these bright retina searing yellow walls. So I'd like to get this room emptied out so that I can start painting in here, because I have to paint my whole upstairs too. So yeah, all this has to be packed up and moved. And I keep coming in here in the evenings and looking at those units and thinking, not tonight. And I walk out of the room because it's so overwhelming. Oh my gosh. Just so overwhelming. And I want to take all that yarn in a very organized manner and go through it, and maybe if there's stuff that I don't really need anymore, set it aside to destash or whatever. But it's just overwhelming. And I know what's going to happen. In the end, I'm going to get a huge garbage bag and start chucking all the yarn into the garbage bag and taking it all up that way, which I don't want to do. So I'll get it done, but yeah. So that's why I'm staying here. So my husband's basically just been either staying here, or like he'll go to work and then run home, feed the pets up there, because that's the other thing. We've got fish and cats up there that we can't leave for pretty much more than a day. And he'll either stay up there that night or then he'll come here. So he's been here almost every night too. It's just a lot extra running for him. But he's the one doing most of the patching and sanding work and stuff in the basement room, in the bedroom down there. And this past weekend, we poured 2/3 of the new front porch, because I don't remember how much I explained about this last week, if at all. My front porch has like this crazy slope on it, which I thought it was supposed to. But in the end, no porch is ever supposed to slope a difference of like 9 inches or 11 inches. I don't remember what the difference was from front to back. Crazy. It's basically just sunken over time. So rather than tear it out and start over, we're pouring another porch over it, which is fine. But it was a lot of work. Saturday we spent framing it out and removing the porch posts and propping the porch roof up. I was having like visions of my porch roof just falling off during this process. It was making me so nervous, but my husband knows what he's doing, so I just kept walking in the house and having to go away and not look. So we got the far end and the near end, like so the place right in front of my front door and then the far end of the porch. Those have been poured. We could not go in and out of the front door for 2 days, which that was really fun with Muffin, because I actually do have a side door in my kitchen. We never use that door. There's like a big stoop that's covered in bushes, and then it drops off, and then there's another drop off. So it's just, nothing was ever done with that before we bought the house. Nothing was done with it while we bought the house since I've lived here. So we don't really use that door except in emergencies or like odd circumstances like this. So I've been having to take Muffin out through this weird side door. She was not happy about that at all. The cat refused to go out of it. It's like she was just ignoring the fact that there was even a door there. And we kept the cat inside the first night after the concrete was poured, because we didn't want her to walk across it and leave footprints, because it was still wet. And like by the time we were done, it was getting dark. It was still wet cement. And lo and behold, the next morning we look, some other neighborhood cat walked across the stupid porch. So there's a little track of cat footprints right up against the house. Not our cat, but a cat. Crazy. Anyway, we can go in and out of the door now again. But the third portion in the middle of the porch cannot be poured until the other ones set up more, I guess, because the posts have to be put in the corners again before we can remove the other supports. I don't know. My husband said it has to wait at least a few weeks, and now all of a sudden he's talking about pouring it tomorrow. I don't know. I'm out on that. Like, that's not my department. Whatever. But that's going on. So it's pretty much all the craziness. But in the meantime, because we're doing all this work downstairs, it's causing like a lot of dust and stuff. Plus we're going to be painting and fumes. I've had to remove my drying area, my yarn drying area, from the basement, which is where I usually dry my yarn, to a new spot temporarily. The only new spot available, my daughter's bedroom. My daughter's bedroom has been converted to the yarn drying room temporarily until this weekend, when I get to move everything again and take it up to the mountain house. Oh my gosh. Like, it's 12:49 p.m. Is it time for a drink? I think it is. That's been my thought most of this week with all this stuff going on. Oh my gosh. Anyway, fingers crossed I'll at least have the studio stuff up there this weekend. That's the plan. So, all right. that's enough about all that. Let's move on to shop news. The summertime knit along and crochet along is still going on. July is now over. That was our second month. And our winner for July, post number 24, who is Nana, who is from Norway. She's IRYL Knits, Irl Knits. So congratulations, Nana. And her project that she did out of semi-solids, she used one of my Secret Garden gradient sets, the mini sets, and she did a Merton hat, which is a beautiful color work hat. And I love how she used that mini gradient. I've got one of those gradient sets set aside for myself to use because I absolutely love that color combination. I haven't figured out what to do with it yet, but I hadn't thought about doing that kind of a color work project with it yet. So I may have to do that. But anyway, congratulations, Nana. Your prize, last prize of the day, is a skein of my Cozy Worsted Weight in the Flurry colorway. Remember this? This was one of my colorways from last winter. And it's been holding over, just waiting for the right time. So this one is a speckled colorway. It's mostly white, but it knits up so cool. I did a hat. Look at my project page. You can see a hat that I did out of this. So anyway, Nana, this will be coming to you as soon as you write to me, PM me, let me know you won, send me your mailing address. I know I have it from past times, but it's just way easier if you send it to me again. So congratulations. So we are now in the final month of the summertime knit and crochet along in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group. August is the month for speckles and sock blanks. So Nana, if you get this skein in time, I don't know how long it takes to get things to Norway, but if you get this skein in time, you could actually knit it and use it for the August knit along. So speckles and or sock blanks. Most of my sock blanks are speckled, not all of them, but most of them. Or any skein that has speckles, including any self-striping skeins that have a speckled stripe in it or a stripe with speckles. That's totally allowable. So go ahead. And I did not have time to check and see how many people posted finished objects in July that had also posted them in June. But remember, if you post at least one qualifying finished object in each of the 3 months, then that qualifies you for like all the big grand prizes at the end of the knit along. So yay. All right, lastly, we do have a shop update. And I'm going to start out with the worsted weight. I put in some worsted weight, both stripes and semi-solids in the shop this week. I'm not going to show you the semi-solids. I'll just be putting them up, and when I put them up, they're live. But I have 5 different self-striping colorways on Cozy, which is my worsted weight base, 100% superwash merino. So there will be a couple skeins of Summertime Blues. There'll be 3 skeins of Grayscale. There will be 2 skeins of the Bold Berry Swirl, which that's that same colorway that I'm working on the current sock whip in, but this is in worsted weight. And then there will also be 2 skeins of the Margarita Swirl, which is the hoe that I just showed you this week. And lastly, there will be this, which I'm calling Drunk Monkeys One of a Kind. I had issues with this skein when I was rescanning it, and it felt like Drunk Monkeys had worked with it. There's nothing wrong with the skein. It's just, yeah, Drunk Monkeys. There are some dye irregularities in this skein though, so I'm going to be offering it at a discounted price. Drunk Monkeys, baby. They'll get you every time. So that is the worsted weight stripes, or those are the worsted weight stripes that will be in the shop. Then fingering weight, I have a new self-striping colorway. In line with my what I said at the beginning of summer, that I was going to be introducing a series of swirl colorways, which those were the first 2, the Bold Berries and the Margarita Swirl. So these were the first 2 swirls that I've had in the shop. I have the 3rd swirl. And I was originally thinking about this as a summertime colorway, but then once I got it done, I realized this is a wonderful autumn colorway too. And it's funny because I'm kind of in that in-between stage as a dyer where I'm still dyeing summer stuff, but I'm also starting to dye my autumn colorways. So this works well for both. I'm calling it the S'mores Swirl because who doesn't have campfires occasionally in the summer or the fall? So S'mores Swirl will have the same striping layout as the other 2 swirl patterns. So there will be, let me get these, okay. Sorry, I've got to get my finger to work in the right area. Let me see if I can get the lighting a little bit better. Okay. So there are, and this is blowing out. The colors will be much better as usual in the shop photos, but there is this wonderful ember orange stripe here. Maybe if I hold it back, there's an orange stripe and a goldish orange stripe. So those are the two small stripes that represent your campfire, the colors in your fire. Then the wider stripe that is in the middle will be the swirl stripe, and that contains a swirl of dark brown, which is for your Hershey's chocolate bar, and then there's the lighter sandy colored brown, which represents your graham cracker, and then there will be white sections for your marshmallow, and throughout the whole swirl section there will be, and it's hard to see on here right now because it's all skeined up. You can see it kind of right here. But the swirl section will have little specks of black because inevitably you're going to burn the marshmallow while you're toasting it over the fire. So I will have a sample of this knit up for the shop listing, so you'll actually be able to see it. I just did not have time to get one knit up prior to the podcast. But this is the latest swirl, so it's, I'm either going to call it just s'mores swirl or campfire swirl, campfire and s'mores swirl. Either way, you'll know what it is. I love this. I love these colors. This is an awesome, this is going to be one of my fall colorways, I think, that I'm going to use for socks for me. Anyway, I will have this on Bounce. I will have this on Traveler, my sport weight, and I will have this on, I want to say DK weight. It's either DK or worsted. I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure it's DK weight, than my bona fide base. So 3 different bases this week for this, and I will have more in the future as long as these sell. If nobody likes them, then I won't do any more. There is still some Mountain House Summer in the shop from last update too. So if you haven't bought that yet and you wanted it, check that out. I did not dye anymore for this update, but I will if there is interest in it for future updates. Okay, the last thing that I'm super excited about for the shop. This is a project that I have been working on with Erin from Bling Your String. It's a collaboration. I approached her with a couple months ago and asked her if she would be interested, and she said yes. So Erin did up 10 bitty buddy bags for me in different fabrics, and I then dyed yarn to coordinate with them, because I know a lot of you like to have your yarn coordinate with your project bag, and so that is what we've got. There are 10 of these sets, and each of the sets includes a bag with the stitch markers from Erin, and then it includes yarn from me. So I'm going to show you these each one at a time. 5 of these sets I did with actual skeins of Bounce, and 5 of them I did with sock blanks. So I'm going to show you the yarn ones first. So this is the first bag. It's this wonderfully fun and whimsical under the sea kind of fabric with this swirly blue fabric as the lining, and her linings actually come out over the top. So you'll see the lining from the outside as well. All the features that I showed you of the bags before. You've got the wrist strap, you've got the clip with the stitch markers. So there's 4 beaded stitch markers, and then the 5th one is a little octopus on this one. He's super cute. If I can get him to focus. There he is. And then the drawstring with the button tab. So this is the bag, and here is the yarn. The yarn, the skeins of yarn are all variegated and speckled skeins. So there is the coordinating skein for that one. I'm not going to be naming the skeins of yarn separate than the bags. They're just going to go up as a named set, because none of these skeins are ever going to be dyed again. These are all one of a kinds. I did not write down any recipes. I only dyed them to match their bags. That's it. So that's the first one. The next one is this really pretty floral. It's like a watercolor floral fabric, and it's got these little, can you see them? Let me find one. These little fairies. Look at the little fairies. Aren't they cute? There's a couple different little fairies on here. And for the stitch markers, we've got purple beads plus a little fairy stitch marker as you're beginning a round. Purple lining, and here is the skein that I dyed up to go with that. I love the colors of this fabric, and it was so much fun to dye up. Okay, so that's number 2. I know this is taking a little while, but I just want to take the time to show you each of these individually because they're fabulous. Okay, the third one, foxes. We've got some fun foxes on this really fun light blue fabric, and then there's 2 different contrasting fabrics on this one, the red one and then the stripy, and the stripy is what's on the inside. And the markers are beads, and then the beginning of round one is a flower. And here is the coordinating yarn skein for this one. This was so much fun to dye these up. I love doing stuff like this. I mean, I love doing my regular colorways too, but it's just so much fun dyeing these one-of-a-kinds up, especially with a purpose, like to match these bags. I can do one-of-a-kinds anytime, but when I'm trying to, like, you know, coordinate, it was just amazingly fun. All right, next bag. It's these really pretty leaves and branches. Aren't they gorgeous? I love those colors. Great coordinating stripe for the lining. And the stitch markers on here, there's 4 beads plus a little leaf stitch marker. The stitch markers will be shown more clearly in the photos for the shop. And here is your skein of yarn for this one. I tried to pull out as many of those colors as I could from the leaves because there were just so many. Lots of fun. Then the 5th bag that has yarn with it is this one. Check out the sheepies. They're so cute. So sheepies on a nice soft green black background and green beaded markers with a sheep stitch marker as well. There it is. Okay, so that is, and little like a cream colored polka dot lining. And here is the skein for this one. This one is a very subtle skein. You can see the greenish and the cream really well with the darker speckles, but I don't know if you can tell here if it's getting blown out too much, but there are some very soft areas of pink representing those little sheepy ears. So again, you'll be able to see that better in the photos in the shop. Okay, so those are the 5 that have skeins of yarn. So let's move on now to the 5 that have sock blanks with them. So this bag is the same fabric as my bag that I've been using that you've seen before. It's the cute little birdies and the owls with this great lining, the bright stripy lining. And the stitch markers are beaded stitch markers, and you've got a little owl stitch marker there as the beginning of round one. And here is this is going to be a little harder to show you. Maybe I'll just leave them in half because it's hard to show you the bag and this sock blank at the same time. So this green is a little bit darker than the green in the fabric, but that just seems, that's the way it turned out. So anyway, and these will actually be packaged better than how I'm folding them up to stick them in the bags right now. Okay, so that's that one. And then we've got these awesome retro kitty cats. I love this fabric. And it's got this little polka dot fabric on the top. And the stitch markers are beaded with a kitty cat. The same style kitty cat marker on there. It's cute. Okay, so this sock blank is, again, it's the nice soft green with all those colors. This was so much fun to do. All of these sock blanks I did as resist dyes. Resist dye is awesome because it's a great way to incorporate white into a sock blank without having it be big chunks of white. And it lets me play with the colors more within the resist area. It's just a lot of fun to do. Okay, so that's the kitties. And then there's this one with these very bright butterflies. And these sort of remind me of sprinkles, jimmies, sprinkles, whatever you call them. Little lines for the fabric, or for the fabric, for the lining. And then your beaded markers plus a butterfly marker. He's sort of hiding behind the beads, but he's there. And it's funny, I posted a picture on Instagram last night to my Fiber Nymph Dye Works Instagram account, just showing my makeshift drying area. And this sock blank was hanging kind of towards the front. And a bunch of people were like, oh my gosh, I want that sock blank because it looks tie-dyed. This was great to do. I love doing these colors. So you've got all those bright butterfly colors with some white. These are bigger resist areas, so they were a lot of fun to do too. And there's some white around the edges of these as well. So if you were one of those people who saw this and really wanted it, this is how you can get it. You can get it with this bag. I may try to do other sock blanks like that sometime in the future though, because they are pretty cool. Okay, 2 more. This one, I like this. I love all these fabrics. We've got a camping theme fabric with little campers and tents and bicycles and pine trees, and then this nice blue floral print as your lining, and there's an oak leaf, a beaded markers plus an oak leaf. And these beaded markers are really cool. They're square. All right, and then here is the sock blank for this one. There you go. And I loved using the orange for the speckles because there's just little bits of orange in different elements in the fire and in the curtains of the camper and the rims of the tires. So it was really fun to be able to use that orange as the speckle, the accent there for that. Okay, lastly, get that in there. Lastly is this pretty bag. I just love this one. This water, again, it's like got a watercolor effect. A light blue with brown polka dots is the lining. I guess these kind of look like pansies or violets maybe. And there's beaded markers plus a rose or a flower. I don't know, maybe it's not a rose, but it's a different type of flower marker than the other one that I showed you before. Oh, there, that one. That focused really well. Okay, and so here is the sock blank for this one. Fun. I know I keep saying that, so much fun, but they were so much fun to make. I'm so happy with how they came out, and I just hope you guys love these as much as I do. Anyway, I will be working on getting all of this stuff put up into the shop in preview mode. I'm aiming for like by tomorrow, like midday, noonish. But I will post in both the Instagram account and on the Fiber Nymph Dye Works page and in the Ravelry group when everything is up in preview mode. So you'll be able to check it out, or you can just check back at the shop. But again, the shop update will be on Friday, August 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's my standard update time. So yeah, that's everything I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you saw something you liked. And that's all I've got for you this week. Again, if you are a prize winner from this week for any of the many prizes, it's 11 prizes, please PM me on Ravelry with your mailing address, especially unless it's something that has to be sent to you over the internet, then I don't need your mailing address. And let me know. Well, actually, no, because you're going to be giving me choices. So everybody needs to send me their mailing address and your top 5 prize choices if you were one of the A Year in the Life of a Knitter Chatter prize winners. Top 5. And if I have to let you know that all of those have been taken, I will get back to you. But again, I will update the list in the show notes to let you know what's already been claimed as they become claimed. I will try to do that. So anyway, that's everything. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Hopefully by the time I talk to you next week, I may be podcasting from the mountain house next week. We will see how that goes. I may end up with one more week I have to do it here, but who knows? We'll see. At least hopefully I'll be able to report to you that the studio has been moved. And I'm sure I'll be documenting that on Instagram and everything. Probably both of my accounts at different points. So anyway, that's it. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.